The story begins, and we see a couple who noticed that all their neighbors were leaving their homes as if the world was about to end. Jason goes outside and sees chaos as far as the eye can see. He himself didn't know what was happening, but as a precaution, like everyone else, he decides to leave the city with his family. They're only halfway there when they notice that all the people who were leaving the city are now turning back. Because of this, Jason's family gets stuck in traffic. Soon, they notice that the road leading to the city had been completely blocked by the military. Soon, helicopters started hovering, and an announcement was made that a strange infection had suddenly spread in the city, affecting every person. Now everyone was being requested to return to their homes. Jason now understood that their city had been isolated, meaning their contact and path to other cities had been cut off. They were just thinking about all this when a stone-like object fell from the sky, creating a cloud of smoke here. A little later, fighter jets start passing in the sky. Jason and his family see that these jets were destroying the entire city by causing explosions. Jason's wife Beth realized military sought to kill the city's people, not save. If they had listened to the guards and gone back to their homes, they would have been killed. After completely destroying the city, the jets head towards the roads. Seeing them, to save their lives, Beth started running with her family up the hill where she had seen a school. Thanks to Beth's quick thinking and their escape from there, they managed to survive the jet's explosions. Before the jets could notice them, they quickly broke a bunker door and hid inside the bunker. The bunker door was very heavy, which they managed to close, but now they couldn't understand what kind of virus had spread in the city that had infected everyone. Anyway, Jason tells her, "Don't worry for now. Be thankful that we found a shelter." Jason and Beth start to explore the entire bunker. There was a lot of food inside the bunker, but all of it was expired. It could be eaten out of necessity. And because of this food, they could easily live in this bunker for at least 3 months. While Jason was telling Beth these things, Beth was listening absently because she was very worried. She had cut her hand while closing the bunker door and was now afraid that she might have been infected too. Jason supports her and says, "Nothing has happened to you," after which they start looking for candles to light up the area. Life in this bunker was very different from life outside. 1 week, 2 weeks, even several weeks pass, and they remain locked inside this bunker. To pass the time, they play games and eat expired canned food. Jason and Beth were adults and could understand, but their daughter started to get very upset here. She asks Jason, "Dad, how much longer do we have to stay here?" But Jason had no answer. He distracts her with other talk. There was also a reflective mirror inside this bunker, with the help of which his daughter often used to look outside. But in all these days, neither a person nor an animal was seen far and wide. Even the leaves on the trees had been burned. One day, terrified, she asked her parents, "Mom, Dad, are only we—" At this time, Jason calms her down and, closing her eyes with his 2 fingers, says, "Relax like us. Your friends must be hiding somewhere too." Anyway, their daughter got hungry. So when she went to get food, she saw that their can had a hole in the back and the food was missing from it. They check all the cans. They find 12 cans empty and realize that rats had gotten into their bunker from somewhere and had eaten their 12 days' worth of food. Jason calms Beth and his daughter down and says there's no need to worry. If the food runs out, I'll go outside the bunker and get more. They were just eating when they heard the same sound again from behind. They saw that a rat was squeaking very loudly. Jason stands up with a knife to kill it, but this rat was running much faster than ordinary rats. Jason couldn't catch it. No. Noticing the path it was taking, Beth stands in its way beforehand and finally catches the rat. Before they could celebrate this, they smelled kerosene from behind and saw that the rat had knocked over their lantern while passing by. Before they could do anything, the lamp exploded and a fire started. It seemed like they were about to lose their last shelter. The fire was spreading rapidly. Jason quickly tried to extinguish the fire by getting water from the tap, but the fire kept growing. Beth throws a cloth on the fire, and after a lot of effort, they both succeed in extinguishing it. But then they see that their daughter was nowhere to be found. They got scared again, and then they found out that she had hidden under the bed out of fear. They had just gotten out of this tense situation when Jason noticed another problem. The smoke from the fire was going out through the duct, which could reveal their location to anyone. He gets extremely scared. He tries to prevent the smoke from going out of the duct, but his effort is completely useless. They spend the whole night in fear, but fortunately, no one notices them. All the smoke had cleared, but when they woke up in the morning, they saw that burnt ash from inside had fallen outside their bunker, which meant there was still a danger that someone could see them. Therefore, Jason and Beth decide to go outside to clear the duct. Their daughter was going to stay inside and wait for them. The whole day passes, and Jason and Beth don't return to the bunker. Their daughter becomes even more worried. Many times during the day, she saw in the reflective mirror her parents both working nearby. Even now, when she looked outside through the reflective mirror, her dad was working, and a shadow was approaching them from the woods behind. She screamed to save her dad and to warn him about the monster, but her dad couldn't hear her. Worried about her parents, she was forced to come out of the bunker. When she came out, she couldn't see either of her parents. She got scared that the monster might have caught them. She was looking around, shouting for her mom and dad, when suddenly 2 hands pull her from behind. It was her mom, who had her hand over her mouth, and her dad was there too. They had also found out about the monster, so they were both hiding. As soon as the monsters passed by the bunker door looking for them, they got back inside the bunker without wasting any time. Jason tries to secure the bunker door with chains again, but the fear doesn't leave them because the sound of heavy footsteps was still coming from above the bunker. Beth's daughter starts crying out of fear, and Beth reassures her that nothing will happen. As long as they're inside, they're safe. Seeing his daughter out of control, Jason goes to her and, in his usual way, closes her eyes with his 2 fingers and calms her down. He explains that their voices can attract them, that if they make any sound, they'll die. So relax and stay silent. Suddenly, the sound of those same footsteps gets louder again, and the footsteps pass over the ventilation duct and stop near the bunker door. Now they started to get scared. Sweat glistened on Jason's forehead as well. Suddenly, the door of their bunker starts banging loudly. The chains at the bottom also start to break, which meant that the monsters had found their shelter and could come inside and attack them at any moment. Before the last chain could break and open, Beth hung from the chain, trying desperately to close the bunker with her weight, but the monster's strength was far greater than hers. Despite Beth hanging on, the monsters managed to open the bunker door, and outside they can see only 2 glowing green eyes. They can't see anything more than that. They are terrified, and before the monsters could get inside their bunker, Jason quickly breaks off a pipe, bends it, and wedges it into the door latch, managing to close it. As soon as the bunker was closed, they breathed a sigh of relief. They noticed that the footsteps had moved away from their bunker, but Jason's hands were still trembling with fear. They understood that the outside world was not just a threat from the military, who would kill them, but it was now also filled with monsters. Surviving here had probably become much more difficult than before. Now they were also afraid that once those monsters saw their bunker, they would come here again and again. And another big problem was that more and more rats had started coming into their bunker, which was causing their food to run out. They were just thinking all this when they heard the sound of many footsteps again. Before they could get to their bunker door, a lot of monsters used their full force to suddenly rip the door open and throw it aside. And terrified, they see many glowing green eyes, all of which belong to monsters. To keep the monsters away, Jason couldn't close the door now, but he cleverly starts a fire here so the monsters don't come inside. However, he still notices that the monsters are about to come down because the fire was dying down. Jason's daughter notices that there is a hidden way out through the ventilation duct. Risking his life, Jason opens the grate and gets his daughter and then Beth out. But when he tries to get out himself, he gets stuck in the same duct. The duct was too small for him to get through. The monsters were now just a few steps away, and Jason's hand was also broken. Beth was trying with all her might to pull Jason out, but then monsters from below grab him by the leg and pull him down. Beth and her daughter can only watch as Jason screams at Beth to save their daughter and get her out of there. Beth and her daughter start to run and see that all the paths in front of them are blocked. Just then, they hear the sound of helicopters from above. A light is shown on them, and suddenly a trap is thrown over them, in which they both get caught. When the soldiers came closer to look at them, they saw they weren't monsters, but two humans. Despite seeing this, the soldiers neither let them go nor rescued them. Instead, they drew blood from their necks to check it, which was now black. This meant that they were both infected with the same virus that had spread throughout the city. Here we learn that this virus was actually airborne, which is why no one in the city was safe from it. There was no medicine to cure or prevent this virus. To stop people from spreading the virus further, the military was simply ordered to kill any infected person on sight. Just like that, the soldiers decide to kill them both. Beth starts screaming in anger, and for the first time, we see her transformed, monster-like form. The veins all over her face had turned black, and her eyes looked terrifying too. Before anything could happen, Beth sees blood coming out of the neck of the soldier standing in front of her. It turns out that the one who attacked him from behind was Jason, who had escaped from those monsters at that time, but had now become a monster himself. Seeing him, all the other soldiers start firing at him, and he is finally killed, but his sacrifice was not in vain. Meanwhile, Beth had rescued her daughter and fled from there. Now we see both of them hiding in the dark. Beth had completely turned into a monster, and seeing this, her daughter started crying. While searching for them, a soldier now comes in front of them, and upon seeing him, Beth's daughter gets angry. As soon as she gets angry, the monster inside her also comes out. Veins around her mouth also blacken. She transforms into a monster, determined to kill that soldier. Beth struggles to control her daughter and tries to calm her down. We see that as soon as their anger subsided, they were turning back into normal humans. Actually, these people had been infected since the very first day, but because they stayed in the bunker for so many days and didn't get angry at anyone, we couldn't see their monster side. Anyway, it is shown that the soldier whom Beth's daughter had attacked was now also turning into a monster. Ignoring him, Beth and her daughter go back to Jason, who was still wounded and about to die despite being shot so many times. For the last time, he closes his daughter's eyes in his own special way and then dies. They hardly had time to take in Jason before they heard another helicopter roar overhead. Its lights swept the area, searching for people around here. Beth starts to flee with her daughter to save her, and they finally find another underground bunker in this same city, into which they both go. And here, they see a friend of Beth's daughter. He takes them inside a bunker where there were many other survivors just like them. All these people had to hide and live in these bunkers to save their lives. Everyone knew that they had become monsters, but none of them were willing to die before their time. Beth and her daughter also start living with these people, and the movie ends showing all of them here.